Homosexuality was an agenda that was enforced upon our people for one reason only: to cut the birth rate. And it didn't start now; it started way, way back in Rome. You can go way back to Rome. I told you, you'll see a statue like this with penises, naked man with penises. You know, you'll never see. They'll be just like me. I'm telling you, they'll be. But they naked though, baby. All of that, right? You know, dick and balls hanging everywhere. You see what I'm saying? Now, meanwhile, a statue of a woman, she fully clothed. You got to understand that was magic at work, light magic. Okay. Zeus is against righteousness. Satan is against righteousness. So anything that we did, he inverted it. Okay? We went left, he went right. We went up, he went down. Okay? We are the aboriginal beings full of neuromelanin, so he created a group of beings full of melanin. And while playing with magnets as an 8-year-old, disguised under the name Yakub in certain religious books, Satan, Zeus, realized the power of opposites. This is what even inspired him to create the human being race. When he understood the power of opposites, which he discovered by playing with magnets, he discovered that like and like repels, meanwhile unlike attracts. So this is where the saying comes from, that opposites attract. Okay? This is why when Source created us, the goddesses love the gods and the gods love the goddesses, because opposites attract. A goddess is the complete celestial opposite of a god, but yet she's attracted to that, and vice versa. So by Zeus understanding that, also let me add this. I like to use this example all the time for anybody that I'm enlightening, right? Because this is the University of Cosmic Intelligence, so this is the University of Enlightenment with esoteric information. Okay, this is why they don't want me speaking to you all about it publicly on this level, all right? Because of the power behind the words, as well as my delivery, who's working through me delivering the message, working through this vessel, all right? It's no different than, I always like to say, I like to use the example of when you was in high school, or if you're in high school, right? And you might have liked that cool girl, but the more you gave her attention, the less she liked you, because you was giving her so much attention that you was like actually pushing her away, right? We call it being thirsty in Chicago. Like, damn, you thirsty as hell. Relax, give her some space. But you chasing her down every period. She eventually like, he. Right? A lot of guys they jump in the DM and they just over aggressive in the inbox. Even if she likes you, the goddess is like, hold on, this nigga got AIDS or something? This nigga too thirsty to get in my drawers. Right? And it's the same thing with the guy. Like, if she's all up on you, you like, hold on. Like, you know what I'm saying? No matter how much you like her, you like, hold on, let a nigga spread his wings. Let me get my wingspan on. Me eat these out. I can't do that if you all up on me. We gotta meet in the middle. That's because unlike attracts, like repels. So if you feel like somebody like you too much, it can literally push them off you. It's different when you're in a relationship with married. Y'all locked in. That's different. But I'm talking about before you get to that point, right? That all has to do with the basic of understanding magnetism and how it works, and magnetic structures, how they work. And Zeus, who ended up being the head scientist of the original 23 scientists, he was the one that discovered that supreme mathematic arithmetic. All right, because they didn't teach us about real math in school. They taught us arithmetic. They didn't teach us about supreme mathematics, cosmic mathematics. Okay, they watered it down. They watered math down to us. Okay, math goes way beyond numbers. All right, that's a whole nother lesson for a whole nother time. But just know that it does. All right. So, why am I saying this? Because William Shakespeare was one of the most powerful sorcerers to ever walk the planet. Now, we know that the sorcerers, we know this is all our magic, right? But in everything is magic. Everything around you is either light magic or dark magic. This is where light code lockdown comes from, right? So William Shakespeare understood that unlike attracts, like repels. And being led from principalities working for Zeus's side, this is why they even created homosexuality. The force that like to put a cripple in something that's accepted on a multiversal level, right? All throughout the multiverse, feminine energy and masculine energy come together. It's never feminine and feminine or masculine and masculine. So he realized that if he could push that agenda, he could kill two birds with one stone, because he could slow down the birth rate and the productivity of these souls entering the realm. Now, to implement that, they started showing a lot of males naked all around Europe, all around Rome. These white men, anciently, like I say, this is where Christmas came from. The pagans, they would beat their wives. They didn't like women. This is why when they wrote the book, they disregarded women. All right, they don't care about our goddesses, but they don't like their own women. All right, we talking about at the highest level. All right, the hierarchy. So a lot of people that participate in homosexuality now, they do because they genuinely like other men or like other women or whatever they're into, because it's become a thing over the course of the way they socially engineered society, the way they socially structured society. It's become like a thing now, right? But when it was first created, it wasn't created to be a thing. It was created out of pure dislike and hatred for our species and the planet. You gotta remember, that's not nature, okay? Zeus is against nature, so it's not natural for a god to be with a god, or a man to be with a man, or a woman to be with a woman, or a goddess to be with a goddess. Keyword natural. So what's the root word in natural? The root word in natural is nature, okay? So being against nature, they're going to do everything that's unnatural. So that was a direct attack against nature, one of the many that they implemented, led by William Shakespeare. Now, the cool thing is this: William Shakespeare is also the same individual that created the Bible, okay? William Shakespeare is an alias, because you know William Shakespeare as King James. King James and William Shakespeare is the same individual. In fact, William Shakespeare was like his stage name. All right, no different than you got Sean Carter, Jay-Z. Right? So, being this sorcerer, this is why he created the Bible as King James. And then his sorcerer name was William Shakespeare. He was a playwright. But if you read the Bible is all about the mixing of words and the way they are used. They are used in a hypnotic type of way to lure your soul or your spirit away from the essence of truth. Everything that we did, he inverted. We normally meditated before Bible ever came, so he made us close our eyes and pray. We've been had Orishas, we've been tapped into our ancestors, so he had us praising their ancestors, their white gods. All right? I told you, Jesus was never real, but the story is. The picture they showing you of Jesus, that's Constantine's son. Constantine was the one that changed the Sabbath originally from Saturday, which was the rest day, if you want to call it that, because we know days ain't real. But based upon energy, Saturday or Saturn, right? Saturnalia, Saturn, right? On a Saturday, he changed it from Saturday to Sunday, right? Because that was the energy point when they wanted to try to worship our sun, all for magical ritual purposes, to try to drain energy from it. The sun would fry them, the sun would kill them. That's when they realized, like, hold on, we can't take the sun. No matter how much we have destroyed them, or we destroyed their ancient pyramid structures to lower the vibration of the planet, even though they dropped us from the 33rd dimension down, they still can't shine on the frequency of our sun. Okay? So that's when they started to come with their cloud making machines and come up with alternates to block out the sun. This was all led by William Shakespeare, aka King James, who was the king of the land at the time. At the same time the Bible was being made, they were creating the homosexual agenda. Okay, so this is why when you go back and look at the ancient English, man, look at how a suit used to look. Okay, nowadays a suit looks a lot more, presentable from a masculine point of view. But if you go back and look at the way suits used to look, you see grown ass white men with dresses on, trousers, tights, and wigs, actual wigs. You don't see any masculine entities wearing wigs anymore. They were wearing wigs back then. See what I'm saying? This was all a part of their allegiance to Set, Satan, Zeus, because he was against nature. So they were, to participate in homosexuality was an actual ritual, which it still is at the highest level. It's a ritual. Whereas a lot of people that participate in it, they like doing it because that's what they into. Like they have a sexual attraction or romantic attraction to the other sex. But the people at the top, they do it for ritualistic purposes because it's an act against nature. It's a direct act against nature. Because remember, at the basis of it all, two men can't have a baby. So if two men or two gods just engaged in a relationship, no baby's coming from that. Fuck going to get some semen and play. We not talking about that. Stick with what you like to do. You like dick, right? You like dick in your ass. That's what you like. You can't get pregnant though, and you can't impregnate your boyfriend. So it's not like an attack against you. We talking science right now and the true reasoning behind it, right? Same thing with a woman or a goddess. You can lick her coochie all day. She can lick your coochie all day. You can finger. You can put a dildo. You can put a fake dick. Put a dildo on. We keep it real over rich in here. We not sugarcoating nothing. You not popping that coochie off though. Ain't no baby coming out. So you're going directly against nature when you're participating in that act. It's against nature. It's against nature. It's not about the fact that you like the way it feel when you get your nut like that. We get that. But today we talking deeper for you to understand why the industry does and participate in these acts. So you had all these men back then, and they don't like women. So they role play. The whole play of Romeo and Juliet, that was written by William Shakespeare. A lot of these playwrights was written, Macbeth, a lot of that stuff was William Shakespeare. Okay? But you got to understand why he wrote those plays, why he was writing that. The Bible itself is a big playwright. He used over 100 scholars to help write the Bible. He took some of our truth and masqueraded it with scholars who came up with all type of slick words to trick you away from your divinity. Okay? It's all a part of a ritual against nature. Okay? So nowadays in Hollywood, a lot of people don't know that 99% of the women you see in Hollywood are men. And most of the men, we talk about when they get to that A-list level. And most of your men are actually women. So you liking this man, this actor, this actress, this artist, you like a goddess or a woman, like, oh, he handsome. You don't even know he got a whole coochie down there. Right? It's actually a woman. And then the gods, and men, we liking all these actresses and singers, and you're not even knowing that a lot of these feminine idols are actually men. But they are. And the reason it's like that is because this goes back to the Shakespearean era, which is where the entire industry comes from. They had playwrights back then, singers, all that. They were doing all that. And they wouldn't let any women be a part of it because they are against women. So when they would do these plays like Romeo and Juliet, that was a man playing the role of Juliet. They would have two men on stage and they would be kissing the hell out of each other and role playing and all of that. This is what you got to know. This is the Shakespearean era. This is the same agenda that the elites follow in the music era because it's all one big ritual towards Set, Satan, Zeus. Okay? The reason being is because of Shakespeare was a sorcerer. Now, he had another name. His other name was Francis Bacon. He had three aliases: King James, William Shakespeare, and Francis Bacon. Okay? These are all the same individuals, but they won't tell you that he was a sorcerer. This is why they like to mention Jamestown, Virginia. That's one of the birthplaces of when they first start bringing slaves here. But that's not what's going on. It's called Jamestown after King James. And they started this whole idea of trying to enslave us, because at first we was just warring. There wasn't no enslavement. They started trying to enslave us to do work on us, ritual work on us, mix their genes with us, right? Capturing us as prisoners of war, because we was warring with them. We never was slaves. Like I keep saying, some of us would get caught, and we would go on the plantation. But the bulk of us, we was at war with them. Okay, that's what you must know. Okay, so they was already performing sacrificial rituals toward us. They would catch us. Some of us, they would leave us enslaved, but the reason they killed a lot of the slaves, maybe they was hanging them and beating them and killing, was rituals. Blood sacrifices to their fallen entities. Because that's magic. When you start getting blood involved, you know, those spirits listen more. So just like we have our way that we can connect on a positive level, they was doing it on a negative level and still do. So when you're hearing these stories about these parties and artists and entertainers having to sacrifice people, have to participate in all these crazy rituals, that all comes from the Shakespeare era. Now, let's break down William Shakespeare. Why did King James even call himself William Shakespeare? Okay, let's break the name down. William breaks down to what? Will I am. Now, what is will? Will is willpower. Okay? When you read about Aleister Crowley, who stole all that from us, he had a saying, do as thou wilt. Do as thy wilt. Being a God, only we can do that. Do as thy wilt. Okay, so what's another word for a will? When somebody, they say make a will to leave to your kids and your family, right? So that's a written agreement to pass something down, right? That's the true name of will. That's the true meaning of will, right? You have a cosmic will where you had signed and agreed to an agreement, and these gifts were passed down to you to take down to this realm to use. So King James, that's why he plays on the name Will. Okay? Because he had his will that was passed down to him to do his job on this realm. And we know I is the soul. So when you want to channel primordial energy, you say I am. If somebody was to ask you your name and you understand that you are one with everything and everything is you, that you are God, that you are source, you are connected, there is no separate, you would say that I am that I am. Okay? But when you say I am that I am, you're channeling primordial energy. So this is where the whole name Will I Am. That's what that means. It's magic. When he would do his rituals, he would say, Will I Am, and cast his spell. No different than me saying, I am everything and everything is me. All right? That's a positive spell that I created. But Will I Am is the true reason, because he was resonating at his tone. Even Shakespeare. What did they lie and tell you how the earth looked like a spear, right? Will I Am shake this spear? When something shakes, what does it do? It moves. So William Shakespeare breaks down to Will I Am shake this spear? Use your will to move this world and mold it to what we need you to make it become. And that's why he wrote the Bible, which has shaped the whole fucking world, didn't it? Because that's what everybody was living under, the Bible. Catholic, whatever denomination, even Muslims revert back to the Bible. All those plays, Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet. When you think of love, first motherfuckers they name is Romeo and Juliet. They represent love. But they don't tell you that fucking Juliet was a man. When he wrote that, he was writing in the homosexual agenda because he was against nature. Francis Bacon did a lot of things based around literature and dealing with certain frequencies. That's all the same individual. So when you see the blood sacrifices, that's because there's power in the blood. And they use the blood to donate that as a gift to their gods, which is the principalities and Lucifer and Zeus and his army. And once they make a sacrifice for them, then these spirits step in and help them, because they call these spiritual forces in. This is why they have you celebrate Valentine's Day, all of that. They tell you the pagans made the holidays. Shakespeare created the holidays. All of them. Even the name pagan, Shakespeare. Right? One of the most powerful sorcerers. The whole idea of using the power of words to entrap us in this maze of lies, Shakespeare, you have Shakespeare to thank for that. Who idea you think it was to whitewash all of history? Shakespeare. He came and shook a lot of shit up. He set the foundation that they end up using after the Emancipation Proclamation, which was another spell. When they talk about the Willie Lynch letter and separate the old from the young, put the dark slave against the light slave, put the women against the kids, man against the woman, divide them against themselves. Who you think wrote that? Shakespeare. But they tell you Willie Lynch. And they tell you Willie Lynch came from the West Indies. Willie Lynch never existed. That was all Shakespeare, because he was a sorcerer that was tapping in with those forces. This is why I tell you, go watch Lovecraft Country. When Tick, at the end, they trying to use Tick to open the portal, you had all the white people that was in the fraternal, the Order of Dawn, and they needed neuromelanin, a black god, to open that portal up. And when they opened that portal up, the ancestors seen they bitch ass like, what the fuck y'all think y'all doing? And closed the portal right back up on their ass, and their ass turned right to stone for trying to tamper with our shit. Where do you think they got that whole scene from? William Shakespeare, he was doing all that type of stuff. The idea to whitewash history, to create the Bible, to create the idea of love, to create the standard for homosexuality. William Shakespeare. They could have used women in all them plays. They was using men. So today, when you see the industry and most of them are men and most of the men are women, comes from Shakespeare. You got to know why. And you got to know that William Shakespeare is King James and King James is Francis Bacon. Same individual. This is the truth about the music industry secrets. This is why they participate in child sex trafficking, have the orgies, have the rooms where they eating all type of blood, and those are all sacrifices to channel up the power of them. This is why we got to get back to channeling with our ancestors. Because while they going at spiritual forces, we just stuck in the meat suit. You see? Having us believing that Bible took us away from our ancestors. That was a very powerful tactic. You have William Shakespeare to thank for that. The date rape drug. The idea to put something in somebody's drink and then rape them. The whole idea to put something in somebody's drink, date rape them, sedate them, so that they can do things against their will. Who you think started that? William Shakespeare. You know how many men wasn't gay, but they were drugged into playing those roles in those plays? Back then, they wouldn't let the women vote, let alone go to no goddamn play, no movie, no none of that. Who you think set all that in play? William Shakespeare. And I told you why they even called himself Will I Am Shakespeare. See? This is the esoteric truths about why they do this today in the industry. We know what they do, but we didn't know why. This is why I said come out the Bible. That whole acronym, the Bible stands for Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth. Who you think created that? William Shakespeare. Teach to the deaf is real. Who you think that come from? William Shakespeare. That's all William Shakespeare. The theater, the concept of a movie theater, a comedy theater. These were venues where only men were allowed to organize that or go to. They wouldn't let the women go to none of that. Who do you think set that up? William Shakespeare when he was King James. Same individual. Very powerful sorcerer that set up a lot of your modern day whitewashing that you see today. Disconnect them from themselves. Keep them believing that they have no power. Soothe them with your words. Shakespeare. This is why they give him so much love. The true reason why they give him a lot of love. As well as King James. As well as Francis Bacon. All are the same individuals. How they like to skin the faces of kids and that they kidnap and drain them of adrenochrome. What do you think they was using back then when they was doing these plays? The same thing. They wasn't getting masked. They wasn't. This is the real mask right here. It's wooden and it's not meant to be worn. It has spiritual meanings behind it. Now go look at all the masks in English. They actually put their masks on. That's where masquerades come from. But the difference was they would actually skin people's faces off, women and kids, because they don't like women, which is why they wrote that in the Bible. And they would wear their face. Have sex with each other. The man would dress up as women to play any woman role needed. This is a fact. All that was set in place by your William Shakespeare, King James, Francis Bacon. Let the truth come out today. The news, the way the news come on and they have this way of words to reel you in. The whole using the colors, our color schemes to reel us in to listen to the lies. Who you think that came from? William Shakespeare. This is why I told you that the planet is coming back to us. We rising in frequency. All of the lies are being broken down so things can add up to you and make sense to you. You see? They can't defeat us. They never could. All they had going for them was the lies. That's all they had going for them. Was the lies. Now we're in a higher form of energy. The planet is on a higher frequency. And they're panicking. The system is breaking down. We are We are remembering who we are at a higher rate. A lot of their light magics they were using died in October. They can't access it anymore. Our oppressors can't access these nuclear weapons anymore. I told y'all the price of crystals is going to shoot up because all these crystals are being reactivated. Like, yeah, you could charge them in the sun, but since we going quantum energies now, remember the crystals was already have intelligence in them. You could talk to them like you talk to the plants. That's what you're supposed to do. We've been had these beautiful structures we created. All this intelligence that's been laying dormant is back surfacing again. The forest spirits, the elemental beings, the ascended masters, ancestral energy, primordial energies, cherubim, seraphim, ascended masters, angelic archangels, angels, guardian angels, extraterrestrial forces, the terrestrials that live within the realm. Then you got other beings that live within the realm on different, live within the planet on different realms as guardians, right? The light elves. We are going through a metamorphosis right now. We are being upgraded again. This is why all this information has to come out. The veil fully lifted. All is being revealed. We know what they do in Hollywood, but why? Who idea was it to call it Hollywood? William Shakespeare. They've been having Hollywood since they was giving plays with Romeo and Juliet. But back then it wasn't in Cali. Back California. Hollywood wasn't in California originally. Hollywood used to be the sign when you go to the plays. It'd be a little witch's broom from a holly tree. And it'd be Hollywood. It'd be a broom right there. And they always showed you the witch riding on the broom because the broom that the witch rides on comes from a holly tree. That was the original Hollywood land. Now they make it sound like it was in Cali. That ain't where the original Hollywood was at. That's how deep it gets. That's how deep these lies go. Meanwhile, you are connected to the Orishas. The highest cosmic forces that you've been disconnected from. All of your divine and natural abilities and gifts that lies deep within your DEA, your deoxyetheric acid that was lying frozen and dormant. Why they've been able to just have their way with us. Them days are over with. Now we rise. Them days over with. We the last generation. All the lies is over with. Every last one of you reptilian bitches will be eradicated. Anything vibrating low, eradicated. Our power is resurfacing. We getting back to sage, candles, orishas, wooden elements, crystals, voodoo, hoodoo. We shouldn't even call them that. These are our natural defense mechanisms to defend ourselves as well as help build the planet up. We are coming back to that. And there's nothing they can do about it. Getting back to our natural ether again. We need all this. These are all defense mechanisms. Because we have been fighting against spiritual forces of darkness, like Shakespeare told you in his Bible. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. Spiritual wickedness in higher places. What do you think he meant by that? But that spiritual wickedness has no power over you when you are going to your ancestors. When you are going back to source. When you realize that you are the creator of all that you see and all that you don't see. You are before time. Death isn't real. You are forever. They are not. You have a purpose. You signed up for this moment in time to free this planet. To save its animals and its aboriginal beings. The elements. These motherfuckers can't do nothing with us. We can't be fucked with. We can't be stopped. We them. So they scared right now. You see them panicking. Turn the news on. China making fake suns, plasma energy balls. Ain't no damn sun. They don't have that type of power. What is coming that they know about that you don't? What are you that they want to restructure your genetics to the point where they rolling out a new version every week? What's really going on? Peace to the gods and goddesses in Planet Kai. I will see y'all in class tomorrow. I want y'all to think about that. Now we